They've been racing at Langley Speedway for 60 years, but for the first time, the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour comes to Hampton, Virginia, as Versus presents the Visit Hampton 150, a huge event here at Langley Speedway. The drivers meeting some of the fans here as we get ready on a beautiful night for some racing here on Versus. And we welcome you all here to Virginia. Eric Freed alongside Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer. This is a first for this tour, not a first for you. You've stood here on this track, raced on this track. What can you tell us about it compared maybe to Bowman Gray or Caraway where we were recently?
All different, altogether different, Eric. You know, Bowman Gray, very flat quarter mile. Caraway last week, long straightaways, real tight corners. Here, big sweeping corners. You're going to have to handle here at Langley. I love this racetrack. It's 4/10 of a mile, so it's not a real big track. But the thing about Langley is that you have to be able to throttle down and not spin the tires. More so than anywhere. It's a big circle. Whoever gets the handle on the track tonight will possibly win this race.
And you can pass here, and the question is, will we have another pass for the lead in the point standings? Let's take a look. It's close, single digits again this week, but this time around it's L.W. Miller in first place and Andy Seiss is in second place, just 7 points behind. It is tight throughout the top 10, and a former champion is trying to make a run towards the top. And with more on that, here's Kelly Stavist.
Well, Tim Brown has finished second in the Tour Championship 3 times, but he's currently 11th in the point standings, and he's one of many guys that has never raced here before at Langley. So, Tim, you've had time here on the track through practice and qualifying. What have you learned about this speedway?
I'll tell you, it's a very nice facility they have up here in Hampton, Virginia. What I've learned right off the truck, though, is this place is really, really slick. The sun was out, and it's hot up here on the beach, and place is really fun. It's really nice, and qualified second here for the start of the race, and hope we'll put this thing up front and try to win the race tonight.
You seemed pretty confident and optimistic before the race when I talked to you earlier. Now you're starting here on the front row. What's your strategy for tonight?
Well, we got to keep the tires on the thing and try to have something for them at the end of the race. And the part about being optimistic, I'm one of those drivers that thinks you got a shot at winning a race every time you show up. So we were really, really good in practice tonight, and the car should be really good in the race, and we should have a shot at it.
Eric?
Well, it was a great beach day in the Hampton area. It should be a great race night. Andy Seiss charging. Who will charge to the top? The green flag waves next. They are ready to start rolling here at Langley Speedway, Hampton, Virginia, the Visit Hampton 150 on Versus. This crowd has been into it since they opened up the gates this afternoon. They have filled in nicely. Just an absolutely beautiful night. You know, there was something called Hurricane Earl that was supposedly around here. Something people have laughed at that because they had a glancing blow around here, which is good news. And the weather is perfect here today.
And the neat thing about the weather brings all the fans out. But they support this racetrack. You know, here we see the weather at 78 degrees. It's absolutely fantastic. Low humidity, winds northwest, 10 miles an hour. So this is awesome, man. Great evening for racing.
So we have a beautiful night for racing, and we will take you through the field in just a moment as they get ready to see the green flag here at Langley Speedway. What is now the Sprint Cup Series, raced here back in the day. So there's been some big names through here. Let's take you through. This is how they line up here today. Jason Myers, 4 years since his last win. Tim Brown, 2 years since his last win. They're in row 1. In row 2, it's Burt Myers, Jason's older brother, and Andy Seiss, the winner at Caraway last week. Starting 5th, L.W. Miller, the points leader. Alongside of him is John Smith. James Savali won the pole here today, but because of the redraw, he starts in row 4 in the 7th spot. Brandon Heyer is starting 8th, but he will, in a moment, move back in the field. We'll tell you about that in a second. Then it's Frank Fleming and Zach Brewer. 11 and 12 is Gene Pack and Brian Doza. Daryl Krentz and Greg Butcher lining up behind Pack and Doza. As you take a look at row 5, there's row 6. And then in row 7, Krentz and Butcher. Krentz, a local racer. And then in the back of the pack, Sean Beluzzo, the 3-time champion of the weekly modified series right here at Langley. So you get a look at, well, not a lot of banking. 4 degrees in the straight, 6 degrees in the turns, as Jimmy mentioned. But Mr. Spencer likes this track. We'll go into detail as we go along. But now, well, in the eyes of many, the most important part of the show.
Do I get first time this
You
one?
go last.
Oh, man.
Eyes on. Kelly, you're leading off.
Eric, I've got my eyes on the number 11 car of Zach Brewer. Now, even though he didn't have the best qualifying run, he had a little bit too much front brake and he locked up. He's one of only a few guys that have any real track experience here. And after a strong start to the season, he says his team is really eager to get a solid top 5. So they start from the 10th position, but I expect him to move his way up.
Kelly, a guy who's qualified well this year, winning a couple of poles. We'll see how he does in the race. My eyes are on the number 1 of Burt Myers. Here's a guy who's won 6 times in his career on this tour. He's won in each of the last 3 years, but he has not won this year. He has been knocking on the door. We'll see if he knocks it over today, Jimmy Spencer.
Well, I know you guys are always letting me go last, but I'm going to take the winner tonight. I'm taking this guy by the name of 79, James Savali. And I tell you why. This guy had the big points lead after Bristol, and he loses it last week. Doesn't have a good week at all at Caraway. He comes here to Langley. I believe that James will have a great night. I was watching him in practice. He did sit on the pole, and he is carrying a good amount of corner speed, Eric. So that's my eyes on the guy tonight.
All right. I think we all have interesting drivers to follow. We'll be following the whole field, of course, here. And this is where they'll be racing tonight, Langley Speedway. Some of the details, little shy of 4/10 of a mile. Way back in the day, this was a horse track. 1/8 of a mile horse track. It was a dirt track for auto racing after that. And we mentioned that it does have a long NASCAR history. Well, some of the very big names have won here. Jimmy Spencer raced here back in his day as well. So they have always embraced and supported NASCAR. They love their speed here at Langley because right next door is Langley Air Force Base. We saw the fighter jets flying over today. So this is a speed community, and they're going to do it on the track here tonight.
And the neat thing about this track, too, is it's smooth. It's got a lot of grooves to race on. And the other thing is the fans get behind you. You saw the fans in the pre-race. You saw the fans on the driver's autograph session. And I just think when we come to these racetracks, especially here at Langley, the support the fans are giving this track, the promoters, they're doing a great job, and I'm excited that we're here. We're going to see a great race tonight.
Well, we are looking forward to it. We're getting closer to the start here tonight at Langley. 1 to go now. This will be their final time around, and then we'll go green. Again, lay the groundwork here. There's some banking. There's ability to pass. We saw cars sliding around a little bit during practice and qualifying today, though.
That's going to be big, Eric, and I'll tell you why. These guys are not allowed to put tires on. They will not be allowed, again, to make a pit stop and put 4 tires on unless they cut one down or whatever. So they're going to have to save these tires a little bit. The track is going to be a little bit harder on tires than you expect because of the corners. You're carrying a lot of corner speed.
Jason Myers and Tim Brown bring them towards the green flag at Langley.
Hear the power in these cars.
600 horsepower, and Tim Brown looked like he had, well, 601 at that start as he came flying towards the green flag to take an early lead. L.W. Miller and Andy Sykes, though, along with James Savali, this group of 5 has really got some separation early.
And what's interesting is Savali has come all the way through there quick. He's on the inside of L.W., and he's putting the pressure to him right. He shoots to the inside, in 3 underneath Sykes, and takes the 3rd position. Right, this guy is rolling. He's up into 2nd already, going into turn 1. This is incredible for Savali right now.
Savali won the pole, his 3rd pole victory of the season. Now he's looking for 1st place as he takes a peek on the outside of Brown, and now he's going to try to hold that line into 3.
Man, this is a gutsy move this early in the race, but he is going to make it stick on the outside of Tim in 1 and 2. Tim gives him enough room. Good race coming off to. Can he make the pass? And he does.